Hello everyone, you've made a great life choice here. You've landed on the Naked Gaming Podcasts with you, Leigh Milner.
With me. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, am I supposed to introduce you?
You don't have to.
And Chris Berrow.
Don't forget Bailey the Bunny.
I'm Bailey the Bunny.
As
Bunny.
well. Mm-hmm. Bailey the Money.
Money.
The
It
money.
costs a lot of money.
He's the money maker.
Yeah.
He's the real star of the podcast.
Yeah, that's why people tune in.
Just to look at Bailey.
Now, last month we talked about AI and chess with a woman international master. That's quite a good title to have, isn't it?
It's abbreviated to WIM, genuinely.
Really?
Yeah.
This was built by DeepMind, and it was called Alpha Zero because it had zero human knowledge in it. So the traditional engines might have been told the value of a queen is such and such, and a doubled pawn is worth such and such, and being near the king is such and such.
Thank you to Natasha Regan, and our chessboard actually arrived here.
I don't want to talk about this because I just lose all the time.
So Natasha gave me some tips on how to play chess like a champion.
And that's why you won all the time.
How many games do you think we played? One series of 6 games. You did win. No, you drew one, didn't you? I said to you things like, why don't you try and, just move pieces to the middle of the board? And you kind of went, no. I want to do outlandish, crazy moves.
Chess isn't my game. And also, you got tips from an international women's champion. So, yeah. So, I was never going to win. So
checkers next time?
No. I'll stick to gaming and hockey.
Okay. Speaking of Bailey the Bunny costing us money, he ate not one, but 2 of my PlayStation controllers.
I wish I had recorded your reaction.
There would have been a lot of shouting.
You don't normally get angry, but you were like...
It's like,
what have you done?
Bailey!
You were really angry.
Well, it was because he ate one, so I had to order a new one, which cost me like 50 quid. And then he ate the second one.
It's your own fault.
Why is it my own fault?
Because you know how the saying goes.
What's the saying? I'm looking forward to this.
Hang on a minute.
Go on, I'm really looking forward to this saying.
Fool me once.
Shame on you.
Fool me twice. Shame on me.
So I've got outwitted by a rabbit. This month, scientists have discovered that pigs can play video games.
An animal that can do this sort of learning is potentially showing a level of behavioral and mental flexibility that gives us insight into how they might have evolved.
Yeah, that's actually happening on this podcast later on. We're going to talk about pigs playing video games. Go on, what is it?
We're reviewing my favourite game. I can't wait. We're reviewing Little Nightmares 2. Make sure you subscribe. We've been getting a few more reviews lately, which is nice.
I like seeing the reviews and the comments. It's really nice.
Yeah, it makes lockdown go a little bit quicker.
Does it make lockdown go a bit quicker? Is that a government is saying that if you review the podcast?
Well, we'll see. Maybe if more people subscribe, we'll know.
Let's start off with the gaming news. Leigh had a break last month. Do you want to go back to it now? Are you happy?
Go on then.
You feel rested?
No, you just did a really bad job last time.
Leigh Milner, activate.
A new James Bond game is coming, developed by the same team who have just released Hitman 3. At the moment, this new project is codenamed Project 007. Amazing. We know James Bond in the game is not going to be based on any of the actors who have previously played the spy. I wonder if it will take just as long to come out as the latest film, No Time to Die, which keeps getting delayed. Hopefully not.
But I warn you, I move pretty fast. You'd better keep up.
Last month, we mentioned how excited we were that Prince of Persia Sands of Time is being remade. Well, for a game that's all about controlling time, hilariously, it's been delayed. And finally, in a post published to Instagram by Joe Biden's granddaughter, Naomi Biden, you can clearly see the new US president playing Mario Kart Arcade GP DX at the presidential retreat at Camp David. Apparently he was a little rusty, but still won. It's the biggest win in his life so far, apart from, winning the presidential election.
Thank you, Leigh. Good to have you back on the gaming news where you belong. And also, so I don't have to do it.
Not a problem at all. You're cooking dinner tonight.
As always. This is the Naked Gaming Podcast with Leigh Milner and Chris Berrow.
Yes, this is the news that we all needed.
Yeah.
Scientists have finally discovered that pigs can play video games.
Well done.
We can all now rest easy.
It's like people are developing cures for coronavirus
It's all
and
right,
vaccines.
we're in a pandemic, but we are focusing on whether pigs can play games.
Now, how does it work then, this study?
The animals had to basically move a joystick in a specific direction, and the challenge gradually became harder and harder and more complicated.
I love the idea of this.
So the study was designed to show that pigs have a level of intelligence and conceptual awareness that's much more advanced than actually many people think. Candace Croney is Professor of Animal Behaviour at Purdue University in Indiana and was the lead author of the study.
So what we wanted to do was gauge how well the pigs would perform on this task, which required something far more complicated from them than simple trial and error learning or associative learning, which we know they can do. What we're actually after is understanding to which degree they could do some fairly complex conceptual learning using this computer interface. And what we ultimately hope to do was get a sense of how their performance might compare to that of the non-human primates that had done this task. And last, we wanted to explore whether this kind of technology would be useful in helping us to further explore the mental capabilities of pigs by building on more complicated conceptual learning tasks if they in fact did well at this one.
And how did the study work? Did the pigs really play video games?
Well, it looks like the pigs were actually just playing a game. In fact, what they were doing is completing a very simple training task that was intended to be the precursor for others that are more advanced, right? The side task that they performed is relatively simple. There's a cursor that's generated in the center of the computer screen, and then 4 blue borders are generated around the periphery of the screen. And so what the pig has to do is move that cursor very intentionally into one of those blue borders. And if they manage to hit one of those targets or sides, they hear a sound and then a reward drops down for them, right? And if they were able to do this multiple times in a row successfully, the computer then made the task progressively more complicated. So one of those sides would randomly disappear, and then they would have only 3 targets that they could hit. And again, as they performed well on consecutive trials, the task would become even more difficult still. They would eventually have only 2 targets they could hit, and then 1, and that final 1 wall became a progressively shrinking box. Okay? So this task is really interesting because it's geared at gauging the animal's ability to make the conceptual leap that the object that they're acting on, the joystick, actually controls the movement or the behavior of the cursor that is located elsewhere in space, right, on the screen. And that's a far different sort of level of conceptual task than simply moving a joystick and getting a reward, because it involves understanding that what you're controlling is not the thing you're acting directly on, but the other item that is distant in space from you, right? That's what actually elicits the reward. And this is a really significant mental hurdle for an animal to be able to make. And it's important because nowhere in any animal's life, including a pig, would this ever occur in the natural environment. There's not a situation where any animal would be acting on one object and the effect is happening someplace else in time. So we may take that for granted, but for a pig, this is a huge mental leap.
And how can this research be used to better understand these animals?
This sort of research is really important for a number of different reasons, right? Because first of all, an animal that can do this sort of learning is potentially showing a level of behavioral and mental flexibility that gives us insight into how they might have evolved, right? It gives us a sense of how similar, how different they are in their cognitive abilities relative to some of the other species we understand a little bit more in this regard. It also gives us a better sense of how the pig's cognitive abilities may be adaptive, right? Helping them to navigate their environment successfully, potentially shaping their responses to the experiences that they have throughout their lives. And lastly, and one thing I would say is it gives us a framework to think about the degree to which pigs may have other abilities that we could explore better if we were only able to ask them the right questions using the right technologies that may have implications for their welfare and also for other ethical considerations relating to our interactions with them.
Amazing. So there you go. Pigs are not only intelligent, but they're pretty darn good at playing video games as well.
I love the idea that they use their snouts and they bite the joystick to actually...
Well, you had a go at Bailey for doing that. For all you know, he could have been trying to play the PlayStation.
Are you saying that Bailey the Rabbit is actually a genius who has high levels of
he was
conceptual
just trying to
awareness?
take part, exactly.
He's doing his own study.
And if you're interested, the 4 pigs in the study are actually called Hamlet, Omelette, Ebony, and Ivory.
I like the song.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was Candace Croney from Purdue University, and there's a longer version of that interview coming out on the 1st of March as a special bonus podcast, so look out for that.
I am that which you see before you, nothing more.
Time now, though, to review Lee's most anticipated game of the year. It's Little Nightmares 2. Over to you then. So, first of all, if people haven't played Little Nightmares or Little Nightmares 2 or Very Little Nightmares that we reviewed in our extra episode, what's the flavour of it? What's it like?
So basically, if you love your platformers, this, like I do, this is one of those games. You can easily sit down, play it, switch off, a bit like Crash Bandicoot, but instead you're inside a horror movie. Now, I love horror movies. I love to be scared. You don't. Do
I
you?
don't like, but I do like this game.
It's pretty cool. So in the first one, you play as Six. He's like a little boy, and you go on adventures whilst coming across really scary monsters.
Is that the one where you're wearing a yellow raincoat?
Yeah. So
That's the first game, right?
Six. And basically, you kind of come across these huge monsters that are absolutely terrifying. And you're trying to rescue your friend and also get out of this really crazy mental place. So Little Nightmares 2 is very similar, but instead you play a different character called Mono. And you actually, what's the big difference between the two games? Whereas in the first one, you're literally on your own, you play as a single character, you have a little friend in Little Nightmares 2.
Well, it's like co-op little things like your friend can help you up ledges and stuff. But actually your friend mostly needs looking after. Right,
so you kind of like reach out and you kind of pull him along and you try and save him from in one part the hunter's house. So
that's
which
a really
is
scary
really scary. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but it's really good. Also, what's different about the first one and the second one is that Mono's able to do many more things, like use weapons to slice up his enemies and also kind of squish his enemies, which is amazing to do, kind of gets your frustration out.
Is it the graphics any better, or is it kind of basically more the same?
I would say that the graphics are relatively the same, but really good. The main difference is the loading times between each level, or when you die, it kind of is a lot faster than before. So it's a quicker game, same sort of graphics. If you've played the first one before, you're getting something very similar, but the character can do many more things. You come across many more monsters, terrifying monsters.
So are they more or less scary? Are they more or less?
The teacher is terrifying. She has like a serpentine neck that comes out and stretches, and you have to kind of sneak past her and while she's teaching the children. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying. So if you want something that's going to scare the bejesus out of you, but also have a good platformer to just chill out, relax and play, it's the one for you.
So you're going to relax and be scared?
Yeah, love it.
That is actually basically your dream game. So what are you going to give it out of 10?
A 9 out of 10.
Why is it losing a point? You don't want them to stop making games.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should give it a 10. I'll go and give it a 10.
Oh, you're going full?
Yeah,
you're going all out?
It's really good.
Okay.
It's not often that I give a 10 out. The only ones I've given a 10 is Little Nightmares 1 and Crash Bandicoot 4.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's worth playing. Little Nightmares 2 is available now on all platforms as well, actually, which is quite big news. For 25 quid, there's a deluxe version which has downloadable content for 35 as well, if you're interested in getting a little bit more. You can subscribe and follow us on Insta and Twitter and Facebook. It's The Naked Scientists on Facebook. And we're signing out. Anything you want to say? The weather's getting better.
The weather's getting better. Things are looking up. We've got Little Nightmares 2 to play.
No, I haven't played any of it yet because you're hogging it.
No, I know. But we'll have more games to review as well over the next month. So make sure you listen and stay tuned.
Also, we might have a new podcast coming soon. So.
Oh yeah, maybe something in the pipeline. Very exciting. We've got our photo shoots today.
We actually have. Can I be in it with you?
No.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm going to feature at the front, darling.
Okay, well, we'll see what
They
happens.
know who the talent is.
They know who does the editing.
I'm off to go put some more makeup on.
More?
Yeah. See ya!
Hi, Bailey. You excited about the podcast? Yeah, me too.